In Ha, British engineers were building a railway through what is now Pakistan. Break time. They needed ballast, heavy material to lay under the train tracks. Break time, Ims, Ha. Someone noticed that the fields around the town of Harappa were covered in old bricks. Break time, perfectly fired, uniformly sized, and seemingly endless. They used them as railway ballast. They were destroying the ruins of a 4,500-year-old city. By the time archaeologists got there in the 1920s, 160 kilometers of railway had been laid on the bones of the Indus Valley Civilization. What they found anyway was staggering. The Indus Valley Civilization stretched across million square kilometers at its peak. Break time Mash, that's larger than Western Europe. Break time Mash, it had a population of somewhere between 0 and 0 million people. Break time Mash, it existed from roughly 0 to BC, making it contemporary with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. And it is the least understood major civilization in the ancient world. That's not for lack of trying. Break time we have thousands of artifacts. Break time we have entire cities. Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa are the big ones, but there were over Te settlements across the region. Break time we have streets and houses and workshops and granaries. What we don't have is a single word we can read. The Indus script, found on thousands of seals, pottery, and tablets, has never been deciphered. Break time, over 100 researchers have tried. Break time, no one has cracked it. Break time, without language, we can't know the civilization's name for itself, its gods, its rulers, or what it believed. But the physical evidence is extraordinary on its own. Mohenjo-Daro had a population of around E people, enormous for BC. The city was laid out on a grid. Break time, straight streets, right angles, block planning. Break time, this predates the grid cities of ancient Greece by years. More impressive, every house had access to running water and a sewage system. Break time, covered brick drains ran under the streets. Break time individual homes had washrooms with drain connections. Break time this is sophisticated urban sanitation. Break time Rome gets credit for its sewers, but they arrived years later. There's no evidence of palaces or temples on the scale you see in Mesopotamia or Egypt. Break time, no obvious king's residence. Break time no monumental religious architecture clearly dedicated to a divine ruler. Break time the wealth distribution in Mohenjo-Daro appears relatively even across the city. Break time no graves with extreme concentrations of gold and sacrifice. Break time no warrior elite burials. For a civilization of millions, the apparent lack of a rigid hierarchy is genuinely strange and genuinely interesting. They were also trading at long range. Break time, Indus Valley artifacts, weights, seals, beads have been found in Mesopotamia. Break time's Mesopotamian texts mention a trading partner called Meluha that many researchers identify as the Indus civilization. Then, around 1900 BC, the decline began. Climate research shows that the monsoon weakened significantly around BC. Break time, the rivers the civilization depended on, fed by monsoon rains and Himalayan glaciers, became less reliable. Break time, monsoon, river courses actually shifted. Break times, some dried up. Agriculture, in an area that receives most of its rainfall from a single seasonal weather system, is uniquely vulnerable to monsoon failure. Break time slash. When the rains become unpredictable, the surplus that supports cities evaporates. The population didn't die. Break time eames slash. It dispersed. Break time slash. People moved into the Ganges plain, into smaller villages, adapting to a different environment and a different scale. What they built didn't survive. Break time eames slash. The script was forgotten. Break time eames slash. The urban tradition was interrupted for over 1,000 years until the cities of ancient India emerged again in a completely different form. We're left with a civilization that had running water before Rome, urban planning before Greece, long-distance trade networks across half the ancient world, and we can't read a single word it wrote. Somewhere under the fields of Pakistan and northwestern India, the answers are still there. Break time slash. We just haven't found the key yet. The deeper you go into this subject, the more you realize how much of the ancient world we're still reconstructing from fragments. For every site that has been excavated, dozens more remain untouched. Break time slash. Ground-penetrating radar and satellite imagery have transformed what archaeologists can identify without digging, and what they keep finding is that the ancient world was larger, more connected, and more sophisticated than the version that appears in most textbooks. The conventional history of civilization traces a clean line from Mesopotamia through Egypt, through Greece, through Rome, to the modern West. Break time, that story is real, but it's incomplete. Break time, Tamj. It leaves out entire civilizations that developed in parallel, built impressive things, and then were erased from memory so thoroughly that we had to rediscover them in the eth and eth centuries. The pattern repeats across every civilization in this series. A society builds something extraordinary. Break time, it sustains itself for centuries, sometimes millennia. Break time, then a combination of environmental pressure, political instability, and external shock pushes it past the point of recovery. Break time, the population disperses. Break time, the monumental architecture is abandoned to the weather. Break time, the writing system is forgotten. Break time, the gods stop being worshipped. And then, hundreds or thousands of years later, a plow hits a stone, or a satellite detects a buried structure, or a researcher notices that a myth mentions a place that no one can find, and the long work of recovery begins. What we know about this civilization today is the product of that recovery work. Break time. Clash. The archaeologists who spent their careers in the field, often under difficult conditions, in countries that weren't always stable. Break time. Gosh. The linguists who stared at undeciphered scripts until patterns emerged. Break time. The paleoclimatologists who drilled lake sediment cores to reconstruct rainfall patterns years ago. None of this was inevitable. Break time //. The clay tablets at Ugarit survived because they happened to be in a kiln when the city burned. Break time /. The linear B tablets at Pylos survived because the fire that destroyed the palace was hot enough to fire the clay. Break time /. 100 other archive rooms burned and left nothing. What we have is what chance preserved. And what we're still missing, the literature, the theology, the personal letters, the poetry, the arguments, and the love stories, and the complaints about bad harvests, is almost certainly larger than what survived. The ancient world was full of people who thought, worried, loved, argued, and built things they hoped would last. Break time most of what they made is gone. Break time ems. What we have is a fraction of a fraction. But that fraction is enough to know that the standard story, progress marching steadily forward from primitive origins, is wrong. Break times. Complexity rises and falls. Break time. Sophisticated societies emerge and collapse. Break time ems. Knowledge is discovered and then lost and then rediscovered. The lesson isn't that civilization is fragile, though it is. Break time. The lesson is that human ingenuity shows up in every era, under every condition, in every corner of the world where people are trying to solve problems and make things that last. The mounds at Cahokia. Break times. The pillars at Gobekli Tepe. Break times. The sewers at Mohenjo-Daro. Break time. The peace treaty at Hattusa. Break time. Quack. The alphabet that Phoenician merchants scratched onto clay and eventually, through a chain of borrowing that crossed a dozen cultures over 3,000 years, became the letters you're reading right now. That chain didn't have to hold. Break time nearly didn't. Several times. Break time, but it did. And somewhere under the fields and deserts and jungles of the ancient world, the next discovery is waiting. Break time ems quack. The next tablet in the wrong kiln. Break time ems plashen. The next footstep that catches on the edge of something buried. The work is nowhere near done.